Over the past few years, Softball in Australia has undertaken an extensive consultation process to assess the need for a change in the way that we govern our sport. The current federated model is no longer addressing the drivers for change and the key strategic priorities for our sport. Maintaining the status quo just won't deliver what we need in terms of outcomes for the sport, and particularly reversing the trend of participation. Through the work with independent consultants Nielsen and also represented by Sport Australia, it recommended that Softball Australia head towards a one management model, or what we call now a one softball model, via demonstrated and agreed, aligned and unified behaviours in our sport. We're not the only sport to go down this pathway. There's probably another dozen sports on this pathway as we speak. But the board of Softball Australia has approved the implementation of One Softball, and the board has also approved the formation of a One Softball Project Steering Committee and its terms of reference moving forward. It is the vision of Softball Australia to have a vibrant softball community with increasing participation in a professionally run sport, where all participants and members have the opportunity to fulfil their aspirations.
One Softball is an initiative we've undertaken to reach a one management model to govern and administer the sport. It enables the sport to optimise our operations. We're adopting a best practice governance framework that is in the best interests of the sport and delivers a cohesive whole of sport approach at all levels of the administration. Our goal is to manage the sport effectively by enabling efficient management of resources across the country, from development officers to commercial offerings for the potential partners that will enter our sport. Essentially, we'll be pooling our resources for the betterment of softball. One Softball will enable us to address the declining membership by allocating resources more efficiently, as well as introducing additional staff, specifically in the participation space, and we've already begun sharing commercial assets and marketing amongst some states. We need to ensure the long-term financial stability through economies of scale, which will lead to the reinvestment of funds into participation activities and support that meets the needs of our association clubs and, most importantly, our members. State constitutions and boards will remain in place and will continue to be accountable bodies for most existing functions, except for the direct management of finances and employees. They will, however, be able to extend their roles in governance, advocacy, sponsorship, and improving competitive performance. Each state will benefit from a centralised communications and marketing team, which, for example, will allow them to concentrate more on administering and growing the game. State-based officers and leaders will be strengthened to include national functions wherever feasible, and the nationwide offices will evolve to become a virtual national organisation. This is where One Softball really kicks into gear. In assisting our clubs and associations around the country, it will ensure long-term financial sustainability through economies of scale, which will lead to the reinvestment of funds into participation activities and support that meets the needs of associations, clubs, and most importantly, our members. This will ensure a consistent and coordinated approach to the experience of every member. They'll begin to see greater face-to-face support to assist them in first and foremost growing participation numbers, but also have a direct contact to help ensure their clubs and organisations are running to the best of their ability. Currently, we're working with 5 states who have decided to be the early adopters. We're working with each state one-on-one and will take them through implementation on a phased approach. All decisions are made through each state's board before we progress to another phase, so members can be sure their best interests are being considered.